everybody. You know, I did this video, I talked about this earlier in a video earlier today, or now yesterday, seeing as though it's about midnight or 4 minutes after midnight. But I erased it so I can have time to do my review on Impact. But even though I enjoyed Impact tonight, I still got to ask the question: what the fuck is wrong with TNA? Now, I'm not going to say the F word up there. You'd probably say, what the hell, or what the, or what's up with TNA. But, man, what the fuck's up with them? I mean, watching tonight's Impact, I can understand why some people this past week, by reading the spoilers and all that, and then reading Hogan's tweets, and then listening to Jeff Jarrett on the radio, and then hearing Hogan on the radio, why people would be a little confused. Why even those probably in TNA, and probably those in Spike Network and Viacom and all that are probably confused. Because first of all, tonight, Mick Foley announced that TNA Impact is now Impact Wrestling. Now, last week, Hogan said in one of his tweets that it's not TNA, it's Impact. But then Jeff said it's still TNA, it's just the name of TNA Impact is now Impact Wrestling. And then Hogan says recently on a radio show that he's just one cook in the entire kitchen. So even though he is in favor of one thing, he doesn't know how everybody else feels. Now, as I said in my review, I think what's going on is they're trying to put more emphasis, if you will, on Impact Wrestling. Just like when ECW was brought back by WWE, it didn't have the WWE on top of the ECW sign. It just had ECW, and the bottom left-hand corner had the ECW logo. So I'm guessing that even though it's not TNA Impact anymore, it's just Impact Wrestling, that's going to be the more emphasis part of it. It's going to have more focus put on that. Well, TNA it's still going to be known as TNA as a company, but it's going to be more known for like maybe public relations, maybe sponsorships, maybe going into board meetings, like I said in my review, for like, trying to rent out certain venues and arenas for certain house shows and pay-per-views and stuff like that. Maybe saying, oh, I work for the Impact Wrestling show or Impact Wrestling company you see on Spike TV. Maybe that sounds more attractive. But right now, there's kind of a miscommunication. I mean, even though throughout tonight on TNA, on Impact Wrestling, I should say, they still said it was TNA. So I guess it's still TNA as a company, but the forefront of TNA is going to be Impact Wrestling. Just like I said, that what WWE did with ECW when they first brought it back. So hopefully they'll kind of figure that out, work that out, and we'll get a straight answer in the near future. Another thing though that's been bugging me. Recently TNA had lockdown at the US Bank Arena. Now lockdown, of course, is one of the major pay-per-views. They have about 3 major pay-per-views a year. 3 that they take on the road. Sometimes they keep one or two in the Impact Zone. And those 3 major pay-per-views are Lockdown, Slammiversary, and Bound for Glory. Now some might say Genesis is also in that category, but I'm not really sure. But anyway, it's Lockdown, Slammiversary, and Bound for Glory. Here's what I don't understand. They rented out the US Bank Arena, right? This is the same arena that not that long ago, in fact, in the fall of last year, fall 2010, September 2010, WWE had SmackDown in. WWE had Raw in. And in fact, back in 2006, they had the Cyber Sunday pay-per-view in. And believe it or not, when you take a look at those crowds there, you can see crowds all over the arena. Basically, they sell out more, right? According to what the Cyber Sunday deal was, they sold out maybe 7,000 feet. They had a crowd of 7,000 in the Cyber Sunday deal back in 2006. Now that's not bad when you consider it. It's not good either, but it's not bad. But let me ask you this. If you are renting out a venue that seats, capacity-wise, 17 to 18,000 people, okay? 17 to 18,000 people when you add floor seating. maybe even 20,000, like I said, if you had floor seating. But mainly 17 to 18,000 people. Then what must be going through your mind when you find out that your attendance that you got in this very same arena that had 7,000 people, maybe more so, maybe 7 to 10,000 people for Cyber Sunday, probably about 10,000 or more so for the Raws and the SmackDowns, 14,500 for WCW's sold out pay-per-view back in 2000. Let me ask you this. What must go through your mind if you're somebody from TNA in the TNA front office and you find out that your attendance in that same arena, which seats 17 to 18,000 people, maybe 20,000 if you include additional floor seating, what must be going through your mind when you find out you didn't sell, but you only had an attendance of 4,000 for a pay-per-view, for one of your major pay-per-views? I mean, like the Royal Rumble and Survivor Series and SummerSlam are the big, along with WrestleMania. They're the big four for WWE. And WrestleMania, of course, that's always held in a stadium now. That's always in a big stadium now, right? But all the others are in regular-sized arenas. And yet they sell better. And yet those are part of the big four, right? So what happens when one of your big three, in TNA's case, which you would expect, oh, it's going to have a decent-sized crowd, only gives you 4,000 people, folks. 4,000. You know what I would think if I was somebody working the TNA offices? I'd say I'd look at that and I'd say that's pathetic. I'd be asking myself, what the hell was the person that we put in charge to book the venue for the event? What the hell were they thinking? Huh? I'd be asking, what the hell were they thinking? Because honestly, folks, when they used to book it at the Family Center in St. Louis or in St. Charles, Missouri, they did better crowds there. When they booked it in Philadelphia or on the outskirts of Philadelphia or whatever arena that was that they went to, I can't think of it right now, but when they booked it there, they had a decent-sized crowd. But here, what the hell are they thinking, folks? I mean, honestly, if I'm TNA and I'm the people working in the front office and I'm the one that gets the reports of the attendance, I go to the person that's booking the venues, renting the venues out, and I say, look, man, you want to sell out or have a decent crowd again for one of our big three pay-per-views, don't book in a 17,000 or 18,000 seat arena. Book in one that seats almost about maybe 10,000 at least, or 8,000. 8,000 to 10,000 at least. Because at least if you book an 8,000 seat arena and you only sell at 4,000, that's half the arena, that's not bad. If you book it and in a 10,000 seat arena and you get 5,000, that's not bad either. I mean, take a look at all these events they had Bound for Glory at for the past couple of years, and some of these events, some of these arenas. Small arenas, right? But yet they sold out. At least they had decent crowds. This was pathetic, folks. Pathetic. 4,000 people inside a 17 to 18,000 seat arena. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, that's not too bad. The NWA did an anniversary show in the Pepsi Arena. Yeah, that's not bad, but guess what? The NWA anniversary show wasn't a pay-per-view, folks. This was. This is one of the big threes of TNA, so I don't know what the hell they're thinking. I just don't know what the hell they're thinking. If I was in charge, I would have found a venue that did about maybe 8,000 people at least. 8 to 10,000 people at least. Because at least I know, even if it was just halfway full, I'd have a decent-sized crowd. I wouldn't have to film on one side of the arena to make it look like it's full. I wouldn't have to do that, folks. So, I don't know what they're thinking. Hopefully, they won't make that same mistake later this year with Bound for Glory. I know damn well they're not making that mistake at Slammiversary because they're having Slammiversary in Orlando at the Impact Zone. But hopefully they don't make it later on with Bound for Glory or any of the other pay-per-views. Hopefully with Bound for Glory they find a decent-sized arena that at least they can get halfway full or at least nearly sold out because it's a smaller arena and it houses maybe 8,000 or 10,000. Hopefully to God they do that, folks. But that's all I'm going to say about it. Tell me what you guys think. Do you agree with me with what I said? Do you think they should have done better? Got a little smaller arena? Tell me what you guys think. I mean, the University of Pacific, that arena, or that center I was in for the Beatlemania concert, that would have been a better venue for lockdown, folks. And that's the truth. So, tell me what you guys think. Comment down below. And I will talk to you all later. You all have a good night.